1. Welcome to Made for More Living.
One small step for man.
With Johnny Jennings.
Kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
The fastest and most exciting hour of news, events, and real estate in Northern California.
And this is a fact that was proved.
Online at madeformorerealty.com.
Does everybody know what time it is?
Get ready. Here we go.
So today is going to be a fun show. We have not only one Matt on here, Matt Bijou, but we have a second Matt Bingaman from PDF and Bingaman Realty. And he is going to be talking about commercial real estate, right? Specifically, let's kick it off from toilets to triple net.
Yeah.
What is triple net?
Yeah, triple net is basically how commercial properties, it's a lease type. So all the onus is on all the bills are on the tenant, right? You got the property taxes, maintenance, and insurance. It's the obligation of the tenant, not the property owner.
Yeah.
So as opposed to multifamily where you're getting these calls, hey, my toilet's broken. Hey, can you come fix a light bulb? There's something wrong with the front door. I
bet the turnaround's lower too. There's so instead of a lease, being up every 1 to 2 years, probably have longer term lease. Do you know what a good triple net lease runs?
Well, that kind of gets into leases defining the value, right, of the property. But 5 to 20 years sometimes if it's like a national tenant, like a triple net, like QSR or something like a Chick-fil-A.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I have a buddy. He went through a divorce a few years back, and he had a number of rental units. He ended up selling all the rental units, and then his attorney said, hey, you need to buy this piece of land in Texas. All the rental units were in California, I think Nevada. And he said, you need to buy this land in Texas. So he's like, what, why? There's nothing on it. And the attorney said, they're going to be putting in a parking spot. A parking spot is looking, so if you can snag this land, this is perfect for the parking spot. We'll get you all set up, and you can do a triple net lease to the parking spot. And so if you guys have ever been to an airport like LAX, those big shuttle buses driving around with the dots on them, that's what the parking spot is. So he bought the land, they built this massive parking structure on it, and I think it's 30 years. The parking spot has 30 years to renew the lease. If they don't, he gets the finished parking structure. And that entire time, he gets paid based off that triple net lease a certain, I think it's a percentage of the revenues.
Wow.
So, and it increases over time. So it's not like a fixed amount from, now and for 30 years. But that's essentially the power of a triple net lease. You own the land, you own the building, whatever it is, and the tenant takes care of it.
Yeah, and when they leave, you get those capital improvements to go with it, right?
And capital improvements. That's the term I was looking for. Yeah.
Yeah, those parking structures are good too, depending on the area.
Yeah.
Those are great.
Yeah, I think I don't want to give bad information, but I think it was right next to Dallas Fort Worth. So it's
nice.
It's and so anyways, he did well on that. But you have some stories. So for example, people you mentioned earlier, tired landlords.
Yeah.
They're tired of dealing with that, whether it's like a triplex or even commercial units. What's been your experience with landlords?
Well, I just kind of read a lot of these assembly bills and, the SBs and the ABs coming down on these landlords. It's literally kneecapping them.
Yeah.
They can only increase their rent so much. Meanwhile, their expenses are going up. And so when you're only getting a 2% return, we've done spreadsheets for clients that have 20 plexes in LA or other areas. And we show them that with just moving over to a triple net somewhere outside of California, we're going to remove all your problems. No more tenant toilet problems, no more calls, no more lawsuits, any of that stuff. And we're going to increase your income by over 50% sometimes.
Wow.
Could you imagine that? You get a 50% raise and you don't have any more problems. That's win-win-win, right?
It almost sounds too good to be true.
Yeah.
But California, you're right, is making it hard. What's ironic about all the rent control stuff is they did that to help the tenants, right? But I think it's actually ended up hurting the tenants because now these landlords, they have to take the maximum, they have to raise the rents the maximum amount allowed just to stay current and stay competitive. So if you're tired of dealing with those headaches, contact Matt and sell that sucker and move it into a triple net situation. Didn't you do one recently? I think you mentioned Chick-fil-A, right?
Yeah, I mean, our team does a ton of that sort of work. That's kind of one of our bread and butter deals that we do. And again, that's in line with what Paul's experience is. I mean, he's been at this for like 40 years. He's done a bunch of that own work for himself. And so being able to get inside and see the inner workings of that is just mind-blowing, that a lot of people are still seeking out these multifamily investments in California and thinking that it's the key to success, when it's like when you plot out the numbers on a spreadsheet, they just don't.
So what would be a good return? So if someone's looking to do they're considering, hey, should I keep this rental property? Maybe they've already depreciated as much as they can. Maybe they haven't, but they're not sure what to do. That's what they're comfortable with are the rental properties. And now they're looking, hey, maybe I should, sell this and move into a commercial deal with a triple net lease. What is a decent return?
I mean, we could just talk about cap rates, without getting into in detail, but a lot of the cap rates that we're seeing in California they're like 2, 3, 4% from what I've seen. And, you can get a QSR in another state that's like a 5.5, 6 cap. I mean, they're everywhere.
What's a QSR?
Quick serve restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah. So like we talked about, let's just say the tenant after 20 years or 15 years leaves, you get the building. And there's probably going to be people lining up to fill that space because it's in such high demand.
So where I live, there used to be a Boston market not far away, and nobody was ever at that Boston market. Then one day, all of a sudden, the chain link fencing goes up around it, says out of business, Starbucks coming soon. So, for example, that person probably owns that land. They got the capital improvements, the Boston market. Boston market went out of business. Now there's a beautiful Starbucks sitting right there, and Starbucks is paying that landlord again. So is that kind of what you're referring to?
Yeah. I mean, it's such a desirable, and I mean, let's talk about stability, right? When you've got, a whole bunch of money and equity inside of a multifamily for 10, 15, 20 years, you're kind of probably not at the time in life where you're willing to take risk. You probably want to just lock in your equity and put it in something that's fairly turnkey and, stable. Mm-hmm. That's when you make that move.
And so maybe we can talk about this later, but then like on a different show, but the end result is then you can also sell those properties. Like I have a guy, he's 85. He looks like he's like 65, like fountain of youth. I don't know what he's drinking, but I want some of it. But we're listing his house in East Sacramento. He's owned this home, I think, since the 70s. He hasn't lived in it since the late 80s, and it just sat there vacant. But come to find out, he has a home in Pacific Grove. He has a home in Reno. He's got 2 other houses here locally. And I'm like, how did you afford all this stuff? And he's like, well, we got into commercial real estate early on, and we just kept improving the properties. And I think one of his properties he sold, he owned it outright, and he sold for $10 million.
Wow.
Right? So, but again, he just wanted to simplify. And so they were simplifying from like the residential into the commercial, because commercial tends to be a little bit less drama, and then end up selling the commercial assets. So it's a great way to build long-term generational wealth.
Yeah, I feel like you have more advantageous strategies in the commercial realm than in the residential, especially in this state.
And there seems to be a moat too around it. Like I don't understand it very well, and that lack of knowledge is like an inherent moat preventing other people from jumping in. Everybody can go, yeah, I live in a house, I know how to get financing on a house, but getting financing on a commercial deal is way different than getting financing on a house.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think the only parallels is probably a DSCR for multifamily in the residential world.
DSCR, debt service
coverage ratio.
Yep.
Yeah, but those like the residential lenders that I know that can loan up to like an 8 or a 10 plex, their debt coverage ratio is like at a 1%, and most of them, like the banks that'll loan on the bigger deals, they're like 1.3, 1.35. And that affects loan to value, and that's a more kind of in-depth conversation regarding commercial financing. But it's worth knowing that, shout out to Paul Frank. He is so generous with all of his time that he's put together free training for anybody and everybody who is interested in learning. And I will tell you that I still, to this day, I've been studying under Paul for like 3 years, maybe a little more now. I still go back and watch those trainings and learn something new every time. So there's so many nuggets in there. Commercial financing is something everybody needs to learn about if you're in the real estate world for many different reasons, and we'll be touching on that a little bit.
Yeah, well, we can just kind of move into it now because you were talking. There was a successful local business. They bought a building with SBA financing. You mind going into that Small Business Administration financing loan?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a higher leverage loan, right? So if you've got a business that you're just killing it, I mean, you're making a lot of money instead of just frivolously spending it. Maybe
like Matt in radio, right? Making a ton of money.
Yeah, instead of just buying cars and fancy watches, you can get your act together and get an SBA loan and maybe buy a bigger area, say, and lease out maybe 49%. And then you could be, a landlord and then run your business. And then eventually you could just lease the whole place out after, you take care of your loan covenants and start again. And so that could be an opportunity depending on how, and there's a lot of different strategy on how you could do that as far as maybe demising the space and creating more office condos or something like that, or, incorporating some CCNRs and selling it off as a condo project. I mean, there's a huge play there that's a little bit more sophisticated than I can talk about without notes, but there's a huge opportunity there for a successful small business owner to create generational wealth through SBA financing.
Incredible. So what was the 51-49 percentage?
Right. Great question. So the SBA, and again, I would have to refer someone to an SBA lender, and we have some really good ones.
Sure.
So if you need help with that, let me know. I'd love to get you pointed in the right direction. But typically the owner user would have to occupy 51%
of the square feet
of the square footage to be within the loan guidelines. Otherwise, they're kind of outside the realm of what they agreed to.
Because if it's more than, if you have less than 51 for your business, it's like, well, you're not really buying this for you. You're buying it,
it's
as
more of an investment.
Producer. Yeah. Okay, I got it. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And then before we go to break, I do want to touch briefly on, we've discussed how the lending side is completely different. Just because you can buy a house doesn't mean you can, buy a commercial property. Like you don't necessarily need 20% down. You might need more, 30, 40, 50% down to help that debt service coverage ratio, those numbers pencil, right?
Yeah, and that's when we talk about a DSCR, that's an investment purchase, right? Owner user's different. That's SBA. Typically, an SBA lender would want to cross collateralize the loan, like they need something. But with an investment, they make sure that the property itself
is the investment.
It produces enough, and then you have your loan to value on top of that. It's an equation, and we can help with some spreadsheets to understand that.
To work out the numbers.
Yeah.
So the lending is completely different, but also there's not as many protections for the person buying real estate.
Man, that's such a good point, Johnny. Like it's a completely different realm where, like Paul always says, it everyone's considered or expected to be an expert. It's buyer beware, caveat emptor, doesn't really apply in residential. There's a lot of protections in there, and that kind of gets into the due diligence phase a little bit more, which is probably a great segue for that conversation, because that is another huge misunderstanding. We've seen people come through asking some questions, and we're kind of shocked that they just jumped in with both feet without doing any research.
Yeah. They're like, hey, I have the cash. I'm not going to deal with commercial financing. I'm going to buy this. And then all of a sudden they didn't fully understand what they were buying.
100%.
Oh, my gosh. Well, just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean you're smart,
Oh, man, I agree.
But, hey, before we go to break, I do want to touch on this. So if somebody's looking to get involved in commercial real estate, or if there's an agent out there who says, hey, I have some people who might be interested in commercial real estate, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, I mean, my email was matt@pdf-usa.com, or my phone number is 916-513-0217. And I'd love to get you into some of our free training and start talking to you about how you can be a full-service agent to your clients as well.
Full service. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what Matt means by full service.
Woo! Life is complicated, right? So much going on in our world that's overwhelming and complex. Can't there just be one thing that's simple and easy and quick, like selling your home? I know that's the last thing you would think. That would be simple and easy. But it is when you work with Johnny Jennings at Made for More Realty. Why? They've got a team of people who are professional, know what they're doing. They've got the right connections. They've got the resources to make everything easy for you every step of the way, the whole entire process. They help you and make sure it is not complicated, that it's not overwhelming, that it's stress-free. So if that's what you're looking for when it comes to selling your home, do what so many others have done. In fact, you can go read all of the 5-star Google reviews and sell your home with Johnny Jennings and Made for More Realty. So what do? You just go online, Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty. Again, if you're looking for simple, easy, fast in selling your home, reach out to Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings. Online at madeformorerealty.com.
So we are back with Matt Bingaman. And before we went on the break, we were talking about two things. One, how you got to do your due diligence, make sure you know what you're buying when you're purchasing commercial real estate. And two, how your real estate agent should have a partner in commercial. And as far as that partner in real estate goes, personally, we have partners. We partner with the PDF group, Matt Bingaman and Paul and those guys, because they are phenomenal at what they do. So here's the thing too, and Paul says this all the time, I'm sure you've heard it, Matt, but how many people do you know live in a house? Like if they own commercial real estate, they also live in a house.
Yes.
Right? And so it's like, well, why are the people that I'm dealing with on a daily basis, they also may own commercial real estate. So why am I not supporting them in that aspect of their business and their lives? And so if you are a real estate agent and you don't have that commercial real estate connection, I strongly suggest you reach out to Matt Bingaman and Paul Frank. And moving forward, you will always be able to say with confidence and certainty, hey, I have a partner in commercial real estate. I know exactly who you need to call. Look no further. These guys are going to take care of you. So if you have any questions, you want to reach out to us, just go to madeformorerealty.com and we will connect you with Matt and Paul. But moving back on to the topic of commercial real estate, and as far as it pertains to title, like what are some stories you have? What are some crazy things you've seen?
You know, my breadth of experience, time in the field isn't enough to have an elaborate expanse of exposure, but I've heard stories and talked to people who have shared some wisdom and, understand that a title search just searches encumbrances on title or things recorded. When it comes to like EPA, tribal affairs, or like Army Corps of Engineers, I think there's another one. Some of that stuff's never recorded on title. So you could potentially walk into fines from the Army Corps of Engineers. I mean, I've heard stories about that where someone bought a property and there was, well over $1 million, that was getting ready to be lien prior to.
Oh, but it wasn't officially on the property, but they're working on it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So that transferred to the new owner?
Yeah. I don't know how it ended up, but I can just tell you it should scare the pants off you, because could you imagine if you are working in the residential realm and they said, hey, we need some help with the commercial deal. You say, I'd love to help you. I want to be your go-to guy. And then it gets signed and then that pops up. I mean, oh my gosh.
That'd be horrible. Like I've heard stories about people buying land or buying properties and they're like, this is a prime location. Let's put something here. And then they didn't realize that there was a gas station 20 years ago and the EPA is like, hey, you got to resolve this. Is it called a bait? You got to resolve anyway the underground gas tanks.
Oh, like abatement or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's just go back to, because, there's your title search, right, which looks at the recorded stuff.
Uh-huh.
But in commercial, we do things a little bit differently. Our due diligence consists immediately of phase one. I mean, you engage an environmental engineer. They look at a bunch of different things, historicals. There's a whole list of things that I could go through.
So an environmental engineer is like you just hire them to come out and do inspections on the property?
Well, there's quite a few things that they do.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to pull my notes to tell you, but nuts and bolts wise, that's your first step.
Phase one all day. I mean, you look at like, I guess a notorious case is like dry cleaners. You could have a dry cleaner that had been somewhere for 20 years. It's been unoccupied. Maybe it's a condo. Maybe they're selling it. You get it for $200,000. You think you're getting a good deal. Yeah.
But the fact is the EPA's got it flagged under, basically it's not financeable. And so you just basically bought a huge problem for $200,000 and you can't do anything with it unless you want to get the remediation and the cleanup done, which, I mean, you're not getting it done for $200,000 to $500,000, that's for sure.
Really?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on the scope of the work.
Sure. But it's not cheap.
No.
So that's scary because there's a lot of people out there, hey, I want to get into like cash-based business or an income-producing property. This makes sense. It's a cash cow. But if you come across that and they're giving it away for a deal, I'm hearing you say, well, you should probably do that phase one, figure out why if it's generating X amount of dollars or $600,000 and they're selling it for $200,000 a year, $200,000. Well, why would anybody do that? There might be more to the story than what you're able to see.
Yeah. Get your own representation. Make sure it's someone who's validated, that has years of experience in it, and ask the questions. Has a phase one been completed? Do we have a phase one? What about phase two? Like, those are the first things on a commercial property that I would probably ask.
What's a phase two entail?
Yeah, phase two is like soil sampling. We just did one, and it came back dirty, and so now they're doing like vapor testing. But yeah, phase one is like the historicals, looking at maybe what was there, doing site observation, seeing if there's any red flags. If it fails phase one, it goes into phase two. Soil sampling, very interesting process. Real quick, they'll core through slabs, they'll pull samples, they'll do vapor testing for like a duration of time, and these sealed stainless things, they send them off to the lab, they test them. I mean, it's no joke. I mean, it is legit. They do the vapor test and all that, and then...
Is that California specific, or is that like nationally?
I think that's kind of national protocol.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, I can't blame California for shipping things off and getting it tested.
Yeah.
Well, I can kind of see the pros and cons. It's good that they're doing that, but it's also seems a little intense.
Well, I mean, a lender's not going to fund it. You know what I mean? No one's going to finance a problem, because they have to get their money somehow.
Yeah, and they don't want to be underwater.
No, they're not going to buy something that's got major problems. So they're going to do their due diligence, and that is really one of the advantages of financing a commercial property, is the lender will, conduct that phase one, and they'll require a clean phase one, phase two, whatever. They'll make sure that is done prior to it. Hard money, different story. But if it's like a regional bank who does a lot of that SBA work, you betcha they're gonna make sure that they have a sound investment before they stroke that check.
That makes sense. Like, it's somewhat true in residential as well. Like, certain loans require inspections or certain things done to the property prior to close, like VA. You need Section 1 typically cleared on the pest inspection, and it's there to protect the borrower or protect the buyer. But in this instance, in the commercial realm, it seems like it's more to protect the lender, right? And so they're gonna make sure that they know exactly what they're lending on before they write that check.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Totally.
So that's a hack. By the way, you mentioned get representation. How does the whole representation process work if somebody was to engage a commercial real estate agent? Like, do they owe the money up front? Is it due at closing? What does that look like?
Pretty similar. It's a similar process as far as escrow and payments and all that stuff. We use a BRBC as well.
Okay. Buyer broker agreement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then who typically pays your fee? Is it the buyer's agent, or is it the buyer? Is it the seller?
We typically get the seller to pay our.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've heard stories dealing with some of the big houses that they'll come in and demand all the commission. Like, we'll buy this land, but we want 5% commission for our buyer, and we're like, well, there's only 5 to split between 2 of us. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
So that happens too, I guess.
Okay, and so that's then negotiable how the splits work out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember having Paul on the show either right before or right after the laws changed on the residential side, because it used to be predetermined. Like, the listing agent would take the listing and it would be, hey, this is how much I'm getting paid, here's how much the buyer's agent is getting paid, regardless of if that buyer's agent brought you a good buyer or a bad, a not so great offer. And but now it's part of the negotiation process. And Paul, I remember Paul telling me that's exactly how it's been in commercial forever. Like if you bring a well qualified buyer, it's like, hey, if you want to work with my buyer, here's the fee I'm charging. If the buyer is not that great, then you are not able to command such a high fee. So it's pretty cool that there is that little bit of crossover between commercial and residential, but as far as I know, that's all that there is. Before we go to the next break, I do want to just touch on, again, that triple net lease. So you mentioned, I think was the Chick-fil-A thing in Tennessee?
Yeah.
Tennessee?
Great example.
Yeah. So where does somebody go to find these opportunities? Do they need to engage like a commercial real estate broker or?
Call Matt Bingaman at 916-513-0217.
There you go.
Being a commercial agent, I pay a lot of money a month, and I have CoStar access. So,
which is better than LoopNet.
Yeah, if you're just using LoopNet to find deals for your clients, you're missing a majority of the deals that are on the market because there's an additional cost to LoopNet. So, like, for example, I picked up a office listing in Roseville. It doesn't really make sense to pay the extra money for the LoopNet exposure when more than likely we'll probably just secure the tenant via CoStar. You're missing out on a huge opportunity if you're just searching LoopNet. So sorry to go off on a tangent.
No, that's good. That's good. Actually, when we come back from the break, I want to talk about the difference because everybody thinks I can just find it on LoopNet.
You'll find some stuff on LoopNet.
We'll touch on it right after this.
Growing up, you heard there's no guarantees in life, right? Well, actually, they lied. There is one, and that's from Johnny Jennings and his team at Made for More Realty. Here's their offer. It's guaranteed. They're going to give you 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. What does that mean? You don't have to do any repairs, no open houses, no showings, no organization. Just bam, 1, 2, 3 at least cash offers on your home. It's easy. It's simple. If that's what you're looking for, just Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and ask him, hey, I want 3 cash offers on my home. I want it to be simple and easy because I'm already overwhelmed with life. I'm trying to get this thing done. Show me the 3 cash offers. Guaranteed. Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings. Online at madeformorerealty.com.
We are back again with Matt Bingaman with Bingaman Realty, and we are talking about commercial real estate. Before the break, we were discussing, and if you guys are just listening to this and not, you can't see Matt, he was fighting back laughing when I said finding deals on LoopNet. Like all you need is LoopNet. And he's like, that is not the case at all. So would you mind sharing kind of like who LoopNet's good for or what why it's not the best for everything?
It's definitely asset specific, I would say. I mean, depending on the product that you're trying to sell or lease, it's a great option. It's been described as the marketing arm of CoStar, which is 100% accurate. But, kind of the big boys play on CoStar and Crexy's another great platform, but CoStar really is the big daddy of the MLS for commercial. For example, I did a little bed and breakfast. Well, not a bed and breakfast, but it was like a little coffee shop up in Lake Almanor. And the owner wasn't looking to sell. They just wanted a lease, and they wanted a long-term tenant. And I suggested a triple net. And they were like, man, if you can get it. I said, I think I can get it. So we did the listing brochure. We put everything together, and I shot it out on LoopNet. And I hit such a home run for these people. Got them a 5-year tenant on triple net. Got everything covered, and then they also did some site improvement work on their own dime.
Really?
Yeah, so these people are super happy about it. But that was a great example of how LoopNet worked because this is a small mom and pop venture that's looking. They're not going to probably engage a broker. They're not going to have access to CoStar. But so like for your smaller office leases or like small little cafes or little small mom and pop deals, I think LoopNet is a really good option at an expense, of course.
Mm-hmm. It's an extra expense for you guys.
Yeah, for marketing.
Side. Yeah. So what it sounds like is using LoopNet would be like using one of the smaller major portals. So maybe having your house for sale on Realtor.com
Or Zillow or something.
and nothing else,
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, you're missing a whole lot of other people who are shopping these other markets, a whole lot of other brokers who may have clients for you.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're on all of them. And if you're only shopping LoopNet, you're not getting access to everything. If you do want access to it, because you have access to LoopNet, Crexy, and CoStar, right?
Yeah, CoStar's the big daddy.
The big daddy, homes.com.
Yeah, they own everything. I mean, they are big.
But if you want access to all those, you can always reach out to Matt. What's your best phone number, Matt?
916-513-0217.
0217. And if you forget about that, you're like, hey, Johnny, who was that commercial broker you had on your show? Just go to madeformorerealty.com. We have a little chat bot there. It's a real person. It's actually not a bot. And we'll get back to you with Matt's info. But before we end the show today, at least our time with you, can we talk a little bit more about passive income through partnerships?
Oh, yeah. This is probably one of the biggest missed opportunities, I feel like, for realtors. We've got scripts. We've got game plans. Love to share those with you. What real estate professional doesn't know what passive income? I think that's like
mailbox money.
Yeah, right. And so this is perfect because not only is it's passive income through partnerships, but you also get to learn while you earn. I mean, it's
I love that.
So nice. So basically, John, you say, hey, Matt, I got a client who's looking to sell his warehouse. I say, great, Johnny, let's meet your client. We do a warm handoff. We talk. I CC you the whole time. We get them the wonderful service that they expect, and you are CC'd on these emails the whole time, so you're learning commercial, and at the end you get a big fat referral check. And I can't think of a more passive income strategy. I mean, you don't have to do any of the work, and you're copied the whole time.
So rather than you trying to figure it out, maybe doing a lackluster job for your clients, all you have to do is connect them with Matt, and then he'll take the football and run it to the end zone. Quick story. So Valerie and I have a fairly strict rule. Valerie's my wife, for those of you who don't know. But Valerie and I have a fairly strict rule where if there's a dollar symbol in front of it, we don't typically talk about it with other people, just because people get weird around money. But I'll break that rule. This is the one time she allows me to break the rule, and it's to tell this story. So we received a call one day, and it was somebody looking to buy a commercial property. And I'm like, man, I have a partner. I can't help you, but I can refer you to my partner who does commercial real estate. So I refer them over to Matt and Paul, and that was it. I didn't hear anything after that. I didn't know what was going on. Then all of a sudden, about 3 months later, I get a check in the mail for $20,000.
What?
Boom.
Yes. $20,000. And I'm like, what is this for? I'm calling Valerie. I'm like, Valerie, what's this closing? I don't know what's going on. Like,
It's
is
fake.
this really ours? Like, what's going on here? And so after we do some searching.
You didn't go right out and cash that.
No, I was like super nervous. Like, is this a test? Like, what's going on here? And it turns out it was the referral check. It wasn't the commission. Matt and Paul aren't working for free over there. That was just the referral check. This person bought, I don't know what it was, like a $5 million building. And that was their way of saying thank you for trusting us with this person. And so if you want, like, normally a referral check in like residential real estate, somewhere between, $2,500, maybe $10,000 if you get a good one. But out of nowhere, $20,000 is showing up in your bank account. If you want more of that, contact Matt and his team. One more time, Matt, what's that phone number?
916-513-0217. I just wanted to say, big, small, we do it all. Any deal, anywhere. Let's go.
Nationwide, right?
That's right.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for being on the show today. It was an absolute pleasure. I learned a lot. I got to get more of those triple net leases going.
Let's do it. I can help you.
Let's do it.
Whew, life is complicated, right? So much going on in our world that's overwhelming and complex. Can't there just be one thing that's simple and easy and quick, like selling your home? I know that's the last thing you would think. That would be simple and easy. But it is when you work with Johnny Jennings at Made for More Realty. Why? They've got a team of people who are professional, know what they're doing. They've got the right connections. They've got the resources to make everything easy for you. Every step of the way, the whole entire process, they help you and make sure it is not complicated, that it's not overwhelming, that it's stress-free. So if that's what you're looking for when it comes to selling your home, do what so many others have done. In fact, you can go read all of the 5-star Google reviews and sell your home with Johnny Jennings and Made for More Realty. So what do? You just go online, Google Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty. Again, if you're looking for simple, easy, fast in selling your home, reach out to Johnny Jennings with Made for More Realty and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings. Online at madeformorerealty.com.
So we are in the studio. We are no longer with Matt Bingaman. We are with Matt Bijou. Am I saying that right?
Two Matt B's in
Matt
one
B's.
show? Come on. There's got to be a law.
This has to be probably like the best show ever.
Probably.
So if you think that, go ahead. Let us know at madeformorerealty.com. If you don't
give us
think
a 5-star review on Google.
Give us a 5-star review, please. But
go to Made for More Realty. You can give Johnny a 5-star review on his professionalism and service when it comes to real estate, or just give him a 5-star review on his show.
There you go.
I'll take either or.
On the show. I'll take any 5-star review I can get.
How do you get 1,000 5-star Google reviews? Because I was talking about that, I think, in last week's show, where Mike and I, my other coworker, we talk about this, how people are really eager to go give negative reviews. Like, if you go to a restaurant and you have poor service, absolutely, you're going to tell the manager, or the food's lousy, you're going to go online and you're going to give them a negative review. But if you go to that same restaurant and you love it and the food is fantastic, like we have this sushi restaurant that we go to for years and it's great.
What's the sushi place?
It's called Mizuki. They've got it. It's in Citrus Heights, and it's great. Okay. It's like McCooney's, and we love McCooney's, but Mizuki is less crowded and a little bit more affordable.
Do they
still
serve
really
coffee?
Good sushi.
Do they serve coffee in there?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't drink coffee, and my wife usually orders alcohol and not coffee. But even though we love this restaurant, you know how many times we've given it a positive review online? Several times. How
many times have they asked you to leave them a 5-star?
Never. They never ask us either.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
That's how we do it. So if at the end of the transaction we go, hey, we really enjoyed working with you. Would you mind, helping us grow our business? This is how we provide for our families. So we just ask for it.
That's smart. Maybe not enough people are doing that. Hey,
I guarantee you not enough people are doing it, because how the conversation typically goes, hey, if I was to send you a link, Matt, would you be willing to leave me a 5-star review on Google? And sometimes people will say, you know what? No, I'm not interested in doing that. And that's a hard conversation to have. And a lot of people avoid the hard conversations. But we like them because it gives us an opportunity to improve. Okay, I totally get that. What could I have done better?
Right.
And then you just slowly keep improving.
Because I think you're right. There's a lot of people who would be afraid to ask that.
That's the number one reason why you don't see.
But if you preface it with saying, hey, we're trying to improve, we're trying to be the best we can, so could you leave us a review?
Yeah.
Right? But you asked for a 5-star review.
Well, the reason why I asked for a 5-star is, so sorry, Mama, I know you're listening to this, but there are people out there who think nobody's worth a 5-star. Like Jesus Christ is a 5-star and nobody's perfect.
Right. I would agree with that.
Right. I can see you doing that. And so when I learned that, that's why I asked the question, would you be open to leaving us a 5-star? Because it's setting the expectation of what I'm hoping for. And some people will like, yeah, I'll leave you a review, and they leave me a 4-star, and they're like, well, I left you a 4-star. You weren't perfect.
Right.
Nobody's perfect.
Right.
And I'm like, well, then I get where you're coming from, but that's not what everybody thinks. They're like, okay, well, he's kind of good, when they see a 4-star. So
I get it. Hardly any. Well, okay, think about movies. When you go to Rotten Tomatoes, there's great movies that are not 100%. A 70% is a good movie.
Well, typically,
on Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't pay too much attention to the critics, but if I see a poor rating on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm like, okay, that must be a really good movie.
But see, I've gone on to Google and looked at some of your reviews, and that's why I think it's great to have the 5-star reviews, but also read them. Read what people have said.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that says a lot,
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's why we have so many.
Because sometimes I'll see somebody, not on yours business particularly, but others who've given a 1-star review or like a 1 star, and then I read the description. I'm like, that's not that bad. Like what you're complaining, you gave them a 1 star and you said, oh, I loved the food and the waiters were good, but I'll give it a 1 star.
I liked my agent; she did a good job, but you know what? She wasn't there for the final walkthrough. 1 star.
Yeah,
and it's like, what? There's so many other parts to this.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
But anyway, so I did just recently finish a half Ironman. So I don't know which half is an Ironman on me, but finished half an Ironman.
Ask your wife.
Ask my wife. There you go. There's so many jokes now that we can. Anyways, not good for the radio, but to do the half.
How'd you do?
Ironman,
So you've been training this for how long? Have you been training for this?
I started like in December-ish.
Okay, so like 9 months you've been training for this half marathon.
I was actually training for the full. It's in October.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. True. So you got a full marathon coming up. You thought half marathon, no problem. So tell us about the preparation
Half
the days
Ironman.
before half Ironman
Yeah.
that you prepared for because you knew this is going to be tough.
So I've just been doing biking and running. I had done not zero swimming. So a half Ironman is 1.2 miles of swim, 56 miles of biking, and then 13.1 miles of running. And I have done zero swimming. I swam once with JJ, Lender Extraordinaire, in a pool in March. Just did one little swim, and that's all I did. And then as far as the biking goes, I put nearly 1,000 miles on the bike, but it was all on a trainer. So it was all like stationary in my garage. The actual bike I was going to be riding, but the back tire was hooked up to like a little electric motor.
Yeah.
And it provides resistance. But I have never clipped in on a bike before and like had those shoes that clip in.
Right.
I've never ridden on the open road a bike like one of those cycling racing bikes, and that was a mistake. And anyways, the biking killed me. The biking killed me. So
because when you came back, I was going to start nicknaming you Lance Armstrong, but I guess I won't do that. Huh?
I am not
Maybe
Lance
just
Armstrong.
as fun. Hey, Lance Armstrong.
Man.
How you doing, buddy?
I was thinking,
how was the trainer bike different than the actual bike that you rode during the Ironman?
so the bike's the same. It was just hooked up to a little device in my garage, and the rear wheel was off. So why it was a different experience was I've only ridden like BMX type bikes or like mountain bikes or like motorcycles, and typically you're seated further back.
Yeah.
And with the racing bike, you're like up on the handlebars, and so
Yeah.
any little movement, I was super wobbly. Like I actually ended up
really?
in the dirt one time. Yeah, it was horrible. I did not know I'd never shifted before. So figuring out the shifting was interesting on the fly. Like you can't just stop and put your foot down. You have to kind of like plan and unclip and put the one foot down, or you fall over. And so it was definitely a learning experience. And the biggest thing for me was if I got tired being hunched over, I would just sit up on the trainer.
Yeah.
And I'm stable. Like I'm on like a little device, and so I could sit up, stretch my back out, stretch my neck.
When you were
out
on the trainer, right? You can't do that. Yeah.
No, and just pedal with my feet and just keep going. But on the bike, you're hunched over for
Yeah.
and so the back of my neck was killing me. Anyways.
But you got a good night's sleep the night before, right? Had a great breakfast, right?
No, so I didn't get a hotel room. I tried getting a hotel room last minute. They were all booked up, so I ended up sleeping in my car, ate some granola bars for breakfast.
And had no other...
I had no water. That was another thing. I had no water with me.
That seems like basic. Okay, I'm going to do an Ironman. Maybe I should have a water bottle.
I know.
You did all this training for 9 months.
Yeah.
And you fail in the basic stuff. That's so frustrating, it seems like.
I now have more appreciation for the full. I'm just glad I have like a second chance.
Hey, and you did it.
And I finished it.
You finished it because not everybody does.
No.
But you had mentioned like there was an elderly lady in her 90s that did it that had it almost as fast as time as you did.
Oh my gosh, I was blown away at the number, at the sizes of people, the height, the ages, the body weight, like people doing this. So JJ Mack and I did the race together, and we finished, and we're sitting there eating the food at the end, and this woman walks up to us. She's probably 5'3". She looks like your typical grandma. She's probably mid to late 60s. And she starts talking to us. Oh, how'd you guys do? Good, good. How'd you do? And she's telling us, hey, I did okay. I didn't do as well as I hoped. This is my first time back doing an Ironman or half Ironman since my injury. Oh, what happened to you? Oh, I tore my quad. I needed to have surgery. So she had like a major surgery less than a year ago. And she looks like your grandma. And we're like, okay, well, how was your time? And she's like, well, it wasn't as good as I was hoping. Well, what was it? She's like 6 hours and 12 minutes. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, JJ's laughing to himself because I finished the race in 6 hours and 6 minutes. So grandma almost beat me on this race. Like after recovering from a torn quad, I have no ailments. I'm healthy. I'm strong.
Right.
And grandma almost beat me. So anyways, it was
But
interesting.
you did it, learned some good lessons, and now you're even more prepared. You've already got a hotel room booked, right?
Well, it's in Sacramento.
Okay.
Next one's in Sacramento.
So you've got a nice bed ready for you at home, and you already got the nutrition plan set up ready.
Oh yeah,
you bought a new water bottle, right? You're ready to go. You've already got the schedule planned for how to master that bike.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. I'm gonna make that bike do what I want it to do.
Because see, I think that's a win where it was tough, and you learned some good lessons, but you still were able to do it.
Yeah.
And so just think how even more prepared you will be for the next one, So
we'll see.
don't let it
it's
scare
double.
you. It is double. It's double, but you've only got what, like
5-ish weeks.
Yeah,
of
so
the recording. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be what it'll be. I won't be setting any land records, but
Maybe I'll make some signs and I'll stand on the side of the road cheering you on. You can do it.
you can do it. Oh man, it'll be interesting. So if you guys want to come out, or if you want to be a part of it, it's October 19th.
Where in Sacramento is it?
Good question. I don't know.
You don't know? They haven't sent you a map or anything?
They probably have done all of that. I didn't look at anything. It was the day of the race, for example, in Santa Cruz, where we just did the half. In Santa Cruz, they're telling everybody we need to go out to the beach. It's time to start. I go to one of the tents and I go, okay, where do I go? Like for the swim, where am I supposed to go for the bike? They have an orientation. I didn't go to the orientation.
Oh, okay.
So that's just kind of how I.
Well, look
roll.
at you. You still did it in spite of not having any of the preparation or being really ready for this thing.
No,
you
but
still,
I did train hard. So
you
I
did,
think,
but you didn't do the bike training, apparently.
I did not do. Yeah, I need to just keep myself hunched over on the bike and build up those muscles. But I did.
Or get out on the road. Get the real experience.
Yeah, you're probably right on the road. Yeah, but it just scares me. I don't want to get hit by a car. So, but all this has to do with real estate because lack of training, lack of experience, lack of getting, ready for the market is really going to hurt you. That's the number one reason why I see houses not selling. They don't have the right info. They're not prepared. So like, for example,
do you mean the right mindset? Is that part of it?
Yeah, I absolutely. So if you think, hey, my house is going to sell first weekend on the market, my house is better than everybody else's, houses are just flying, they're getting above ask, this should be easy, then that's not the correct mindset. Rather, I would suggest home sellers think, hey, you know what? This is going to take a while. It might take a month before I get an offer on my home. I might not be able to get top dollar for my house compared to what my neighbor sold for last year. I might get less money. I might have to put more work into it, make sure it's cleaned, make sure the repairs are done. I might have to, in my opinion, if the house is vacant, staging is non-negotiable. You need staging. So we recently listed a house. It was previously listed with somebody else. That agent did two things where they messed up in two spots. One, they overpriced the home. If you overprice the home, you're dead in the water.
Yeah.
It's just going to sit. And the longer it sits, the more negotiation power you lose as a seller.
Yeah. But I mean, I run into people like this all the time where they're people pleasers and they don't want to tell the client no. They don't want to be real with the client because they want to, they want everything to be perfect and they don't want to lose the client. So it's hard for them to tell them the truth. Hey, because the client goes and asks, they want top dollar.
They do want
and
top
you
dollar.
have people who are people pleasers and say, okay, sure, we'll do that.
So what I tell clients all the time is, hey, you know what? Here's my recommendation. I'm going to be honest with you, but we can list the house whatever you want. Here's the thing, though. If we list it at whatever you want, and we're not getting 5 private showings each week, then that's the market telling us that the property is overpriced. So either you can either adjust the price, or improve the condition. Okay, those are the 2 main levers. And if you don't want to put money into the property, then we have to adjust the price. And we don't have to wait 30 to 60 days to figure this out. If in the first 7 days you do not have at least 5 private showings, again, not open houses where there's people milling through, nosy neighbors, not people serious about making a move right now. If you don't have 5 private showings in the next 7 days, then we need to consider a price adjustment. And so we can try your price, but know that we're going to need to do that adjustment sooner rather than later. And that's the way I handle the conversation with people. So at least I'm being honest. I'm doing my part as an agent, as a fiduciary, guiding them. But at the end of the day, it's their house, their rules. I'm just there to advise. But if you're not, so for example, this house, it was a house in Roseville. You think, houses in Roseville, they all sell really easy. That's not the case. This one had been on the market for a while. They overpriced it. And then they didn't stage it. So it was vacant. It used to be a rental. It was vacant and overpriced and no staging. So what we did in there was we got the house priced correctly and we had it staged. Those 2 things, it sold within the first 10 days on the market. So if you're not doing staging, if you're not pricing the home correctly, just know you're going to be calling me in about 90 to 120 days saying, hey, Johnny, my house with my current agent isn't selling. I'm canceling the agreement, or I've canceled the agreement, but I want to move forward with you. What can you do differently, right? And so those are the main things. I'm getting so many of those calls right now, Matt.
Really? Yeah.
So many calls. Because people hear us on the radio. They see us on the billboards. They see the digital advertising that we're doing, and they call me and they want that certainty. And I was just pulling Valerie's numbers. 98% of the houses we list, Valerie's my wife again, 98% of the houses we list, we sell. So if your house isn't selling, maybe you need to contact somebody who can actually sell it, or do that price adjustment and get it staged. So if you have any questions, go ahead, reach out to us, madeformorerealty.com. You see our billboards all over town. You hear us on the radio. We'd be honored to meet with you and craft a custom plan specific to your situation on how we can help. Again, madeformorerealty.com.